Am I the asshole for arranging another playdate with a mum that my mother-in-law thinks pays too much attention to my son? The title is a bit misleading, but that's essentially what happened. I'm also not sure our ages matter, but I'm 44 female. My daughter, 6, has a sweet friend, a boy that we will call Luke. Luke has 2 older siblings, but they are not relevant to the story really. I also have 2 more kids, an 11-year-old son and a 2-year-old son with Down syndrome named JP. We had a playdate a few weeks ago at our home with just Luke and his mum, Katie. Unsure exactly how old she is, but I know that she's in her 20s. Well, obviously JP couldn't just go play with the other kids. He cannot walk, he cannot talk. So he was with me and Katie in the living room. While my 2 older kids and Luke were playing, Katie and I were talking. And while JP can't talk, he makes noises, grunts, etc. Whenever he would do this, Katie would sort of make up something that he said and say it for him. Like, for an example, I was talking about JP and said he gets chatty in the middle of the night, and JP started grunting, and Katie looked at him and said, No, don't worry, I don't believe her anyway. Which I laughed about. It was funny. My mother-in-law stopped by to grab something and stayed to chat for a bit. She noticed that Katie interacted a lot with JP. She asked Katie who she knew that had Down syndrome, I guess assuming that she knew someone, and Katie told her that she actually didn't know anyone aside from a little boy that she went to church with as a child. My mother-in-law seemed put off by this and leaves immediately. The next day, she came back over and asked my daughter if she had fun playing with her friend. My daughter says yes, she loves playing with Luke. My daughter runs off to play, and my mother-in-law looks at me and says, Well, at least she got to do it once, and you know not to have them over again. I stared at her, wondering why, so I asked her what she meant. She said Katie was too obsessed with talking to JP for someone who has no experience with Down syndrome children. I was thrown by this, because to me, it was refreshing. Most people forget that JP is there, pretend he isn't, or focus on what's wrong with him. Katie treated him like he was any other 2-year-old, and so did her son, although he was a bit more confused as to why JP wasn't speaking, but he never said anything about it, which leads me to believe that Katie has made sure to teach her kids not to point out other kids' differences. My husband is away for work for a while, and my mother-in-law has been my support while he's been gone. And she essentially told me that she's not willing to keep helping if I have another playdate with Katie and her kids, which is a problem because they're supposed to come over again in a few days. They've come here both times because it's easier for me and JP. My mother-in-law thinks that I'm exploiting my son to make a friend. I don't think so, but I do want to become friends with Katie, but I don't think she was too interested in JP. In the comments, not the arsehole. It sounds like your mother-in-law resents the baby for his condition. Clearly seeing him being treated as normal stirred up some uncomfortable feelings for her. Maybe because she wishes that he were normal, and/or because your friend is so much better at interacting with the baby than she is. I assume that it highlights her own failures. 2 points of concern here. First, she's abusing her status as caregiver to exert control over you and your parenting choices and social choices. You are the parent, not her. You make the decisions about who your kids have playdates with. Second, it's a little worrisome that she might be feeling this resentment towards your baby. How does the baby act around her? If he seems fearful of her, I would definitely stop letting her watch over him. OP says, JP doesn't act fearful of her, and she's never said anything to suggest to me that she resents him, but I think I'll ask my oldest son tomorrow if he's heard her say anything or interact differently with JP when she's babysitting. She also thinks it's weird for me to want to be friends with a mum so much younger than me, even though Katie's oldest is the same age as mine, and her youngest is the same age as my daughter. The only kids without a common age are JP and Katie's middle child. Someone else says, you're in a tough situation, because you were dependent on your mother-in-law's help, but she's completely wrong. Katie's interaction with JP is refreshing and heartwarming. Too often, people feel that they don't know how to interact with special needs children, so they shun them completely. To have another adult interact with him naturally and in a friendly manner is really good for him. You don't have to worry about Katie, and you are certainly not exploiting JP to make friends with her. On the contrary, having her as your friend will be good for JP as well as for you. And OP says, "Thank you. I truly don't have friends outside my husband's family. Not because of control issues. My family lives in another state and I can't see them much. And making friends is hard when my time is taken up with my kids' activities and JP's therapies. And I can't just take JP anywhere whenever I want. It's hard sometimes. It gets lonely. And adding on top of it the I'm sorries that I get all the time, and the I don't know how you do it, and I couldn't handle that. And my favorite one, that must be so hard for your other kids to not have as much attention. That leads to me feeling guilty for days afterwards. It was nice to meet a mum who was willing to come to our home for our comfort, and also didn't say all the things that make me feel like I'm uncomfortable spending more time with them. I just didn't want to think I was exploiting JP to make friends with someone that I enjoyed being around. Not the arsehole. Your mother-in-law seems way too sensitive. I think Katie is trying to connect to your son and show him attention. I think it's actually very kind of her. Maybe you can go to her house next time or meet her at a park with a playground. Also, your husband needs to tell his mum that it's not her place at all to decide who you and your children make as friends. I'm sure mother-in-law already knows how polarizing OP's experience with having a Down syndrome child is and how that affects her. So I find it incredibly harsh and really rude that she would say this and be like, you know what, I'm going to withhold support if you invite them over again for a playdate, because I feel like you're using them. I don't know why she wouldn't just take OP at OP's word when she tells mother-in-law that no, in fact this is a genuine friendship and your projection over the situation doesn't change that. You projecting your insecurities on this and then using them against me is actually really fucked up. This just tells me that OP's mother-in-law doesn't like OP that much if she's not willing to accept that OP's word is reality, and that OP is not, in fact, using her child in order to, I don't know, guilt other people into having a friendship with her. That's just really weird that mother-in-law would do that. No, not the arsehole. And now, on to the update. So it's been a year. Luke and my daughter are in the same class again this year and are thrilled. We did have the second and many other playdates with Katie and Luke, and also Katie's other two kiddos. All three of Katie's kids are nothing but kind to JP, and every one of them takes time out of whatever they're doing to come hang out with JP every time. Her oldest son specifically can get JP going really good. He also, he's 13, will carry JP around and push him on the swings, with my permission. Added to add, it was with my permission at first. But now he just takes his little buddy JP and heads right on out. JP and Katie's oldest have this bond that I can't describe. JP lights up when he sees his big buddy. When my mother-in-law found out that I was having the second playdate, she was really mad. And she did in fact stop helping me out with the kids while my husband was gone. My husband was mad about this. Her actions, not mine, and hasn't spoken to her since. She consistently has reached out to see if we need help with the kids in any way. It brings me great satisfaction to say that both mine and my husband's response has been, no, you don't need to help us. Katie is helping us. Because while I was so over-worried about if I was exploiting JP to make a friend, I felt like I needed to tell Katie that I didn't need her help. Until I really did. And when I did, she showed up and she showed out. And there hasn't been a day since that Katie and I don't talk on the phone or text more than just, oh, let's hang out here and there at this time for the kids. Katie is my friend. And not only is she my friend, she loves my kiddos with her whole heart, and I love hers. And before anyone asks, yes, I have kept Katie's kids for her also. They are so well behaved and respectful, it is such an easy yes. Thank you to everyone for your advice and kind words on the original post. My family might have lost my mother-in-law, but we got a Katie, and that's worth a whole lot. In the comments, shut up. Her 13-year-old grabs your son and basically says, I'm the captain now, and your little man loves it. Fine, I'll cry over a Reddit update today. OP says, I'm sorry. And yeah, he really does. He shows up and JP gets so excited, and then my child just gets carted away wherever we are for hours sometimes. Her son carried JP around the zoo for 4 hours one day and refused to put him back in the stroller or let one of us hold him instead because the stroller can't get close enough like we can, and he can see better if I hold him. He's definitely the sweetest and most empathetic 13-year-old I've ever met in my life, and you can tell it's not forced either. Her son gets excited to see JP too. It's so sweet, and I'm so glad that we get that. It makes me cry too if I think about it too hard, because I can't believe it just fell into our laps because my daughter made a friend at school. Someone else says, I think it's fantastic for both boys to have their bond. I have experience with special needs children and know that this bond is important not just because he feels loved and valued, but has a friend. Every 2-year-old thrives on having friends, and his is also a role model and mentor. It's good for the 13-year-old to be able to act on his desire to care for JP and to feel the love and value he gets from JP. Their relationship is heartwarming. The fact Katie connected with JP right away is also fantastic, and if your mother-in-law doesn't see it, then she doesn't want to, she's ignoring it, or making up reasons to think that it's bad. OP replies, Katie's oldest is one of 2 kids handpicked and approved by the SPED teacher in the whole school to accompany the SPED kids on field trips and hang out with them and help with getting their lunch, help with their physical activities like books or anything like that. Just basically hanging out with them and being their buddy because oftentimes they have none, and helping them in any way possible. He was chosen without any knowledge of JP. You don't get to apply for it. The teacher observes all the kids in the school casually, and when a replacement is needed because a kiddo leaves middle school, he comes to you and your parents and asks if you are willing. And they are picky, as they should be. They had no idea when they asked him about his experience with JP. He just stands out that much that they wanted him involved. That sweet boy has the chance to help a whole lot of people in his life, and I truly believe that he will. And honestly, I feel honored that JP was his first, and according to him, favorite little buddy. Someone else says, oh my god, OP, I just woke up and your post and comments are making me cry in bed. OP says, would it help you laugh instead if I told you that part of his reasoning I didn't include was that me and Katie are both way too old to carry JP for that long? I'm 45, his mum is 30. One of us was greatly offended by his statement, and it wasn't me. Someone else says, I have a Katie in my life, and they are worth their weight in gold. OP says, truly she is. We love her, her husband, who hasn't come up just because it's not relevant in what I'm talking about, but he and my husband have become very good friends also, and their kids. I'm so glad that you have a Katie also. I wish everyone did. Oh no, her new friend and her family treat her son with respect and genuinely like spending time with them? I suspect mother-in-law thought she deserved a medal for helping, and if someone else just shows up and is fine with the kid, then it takes away her. Great sacrifice. She's definitely mad that she can't be the grand martyr anymore. Yeah, look, she's a piece of shit for not just swallowing her pride and accepting the situation for what it is and helping out regardless. The fact that she put her own personal beliefs above the well-being of the grandchildren? Yikes. Yikes on bikes. Maybe it's best that she's not around those children and is not forcing her worldview on them slowly but surely over time, because I can't imagine that would go too well. I can't imagine that the children would like her very much if the grand martyr here were to be spewing poison in their ears. It's amazing that OP did the right thing here, stayed in contact and kept those friends around, because this situation is such an amazing positive compared to what it could have been had she listened to mother-in-law. Our next post is by a throwaway account, and it's titled, "I asked my girlfriend's best friend on vacation with me when my girlfriend cancelled. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years now. She has a best friend who is always around, and we have become best friends over that time. My girlfriend and I had planned a vacation in August. It's a month-long trip and something that we've been planning for years. We both get very good vacation time, so it wasn't a problem, but something came up with her work and now she cannot go. My girlfriend's best friend is between work right now, and I know that she's always wanted to go on a similar trip. I asked her to go, and she said she would love to. She needs cheering up as she's been very down about her job loss and job hunt. I hadn't mentioned the plan to my girlfriend beforehand, and when she found out, she was pissed. She doesn't want me to go on the trip with her best friend. She thought that I would take one of my best friends or my brothers, but most of them are working and wouldn't have been able to go even if I asked. She says she can't support the two of us taking her dream vacation without her, and it's weird that the two of us are planning to vacation alone, together. She's barely speaking to me now. I know that it was hard for my girlfriend to miss this, but it wasn't my fault, and I needed someone else to go with. I know I should have discussed it with her beforehand, but I was so upset about trying to find someone to go with, I didn't want to waste any time asking her friend." In the comments, Chirpy Derp says, "This is very weird. You fucked up big time, buddy. This is wholly something that you should have discussed with her ahead of time. How would you feel if she were going on a month-long trip with another dude? I get that you're friends with her friend. However, there are certain standards and boundaries one must abide by. You just totally overlooked that." OP says, "I know I should have discussed it with her. I was excited when her best friend started saying how she wanted to do that trip too, so I asked her. And I thought because it was her best friend, she would be okay with it. When told to scrap the trip, OP says, it's 4 weeks of vacation time that I already got off. I would rather go alone than scrap it altogether. I'll talk to her again about it. When told not to bring the friend, OP says, I feel bad uninviting her now, and I would prefer to go with someone. Maybe she'll back out, since I'm sure my girlfriend already talked to her, or will talk to her. She's already struggling right now because she's unemployed. I feel bad for getting her hopes up." Someone else says, "So, you asked the friend before asking your girlfriend if this would be okay. Life pro tip: don't make big decisions without consulting your partner, and don't take other women on romantic holidays, however platonic your friendship with them may be. Moving forward, nope, I got nothing. Let's hope the friend is into you, because you've probably lost your girlfriend here." OP says, "I thought it would be okay because it was her best friend." No. She's still female. How would you feel if your girlfriend went on this trip alone with one of your best friends? You would feel doubly betrayed. You also not only did not ask her how she would feel about it before you invited the friend, you then didn't even tell her after the fact. So of course she thinks that there's something shady going on. I'm surprised she hasn't dumped you. This is incredibly inconsiderate. A month alone with another woman on a dream vacation. Let that sentence really sink in. She may be a friend of yours, and she may be your partner's best friend, but a month is a long time to run off with someone. Also, I know that maybe you don't plan on anything happening, but she needs cheering up and always wanted a trip like this just screams hot sex to me. This is going to be a bonding experience. Most would be uncomfortable with it. I don't care how certain you are that this would be platonic and innocuous, this is just a little too much right here. The fact you didn't check with your girlfriend before asking might look suspect to her." And back up to the post, OP adds an edit. "I will be meeting with the best friend tonight to apologize for everything, but that it isn't appropriate for her to come and I'll be going alone. I'll let you all know how it goes." I don't see how the relationship isn't over after this, because that is such a monumental fuck up to make on his part. If I were in her shoes, I would break up with him, because I'm like, that's just a recipe for hot sex with my best friend. Do you not get the implication? You also hid this from me, so it makes it even more likely that that is going to happen, because I don't trust anything you say now if you would go behind my back and I had to catch you out on this. Crazy energy from OP to think that this was an acceptable thing to do, but hey, good luck to him, I say. And now, onto the update. I met with my girlfriend's best friend. I told her that the trip made my girlfriend uncomfortable, and I could understand why. I said that it would be better if I went alone, and I apologized for inviting her and disappointing her. She got really upset and started going off about how she screwed up her friendships with my girlfriend and me like she screws up everything. How she's terrible at her job, and that's why she was fired. How she's going nowhere in life, how she will end up alone. She told me that sometimes it's hard to speak to my girlfriend since she's always so positive and nice about everything, but she also has a very good life, good job, nice boyfriend, and she was jealous of that. She admitted that she was looking forward to this trip as a recharge for her, but agreed not to come. She said that I was a good boyfriend and hoped she could find someone like me soon. I disagree with this completely, but oh well. We talked for a while, and I just got back. In the comments, dear God, no, 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 no. You blamed your girlfriend's feelings instead of admitting that it was simply inappropriate and you should have never asked? You have probably irreparably damaged your girlfriend's friendship with her best friend. Congratulations. P.S. It's also obvious from this girl's response how incredibly inappropriate this trip would have been. From her reaction, there is a 90% chance that she would have made a move on you during the holiday. You used your girlfriend as the scapegoat? That was unfair and cowardly. How do you care so much about the friend's feelings? I'm not saying be horrible to her, but your girlfriend is the priority. The fact that going on the trip with anyone, rather than going alone, makes your girlfriend sound disposable. Wasn't it supposed to be something special for the two of you? I also agree with the other comments regarding the appropriateness of the friend accepting. My best friend is male. We've been friends for 7 years. I've been in relationships and have been single during our friendship. At no point would I ever go on holiday alone with him. He would never ask either. Not because something would happen, it wouldn't. However, it would feel disrespectful to his partner and mine, and frankly, I would find it a little weird. Holidays are usually quite romantic, and he's like my brother. I'll just make it clear, she became my good friend too. They are now the parents of my goddaughters. This isn't about lack of trust, it's about respecting boundaries. It doesn't really seem like you understand why what you did hurt your girlfriend. It seems like you were just agreeing to follow the majority. This OP is impressively stupid. I wish I could be as good at anything as OP is at putting his foot in his mouth. Or they know what they were doing and are just playing dumb. Exactly. They both knew what they were doing, and it's kind of laughable to me to take OP at face value here. I thought it was okay because it's her best friend, like, be so for real. She said I was a good boyfriend and hoped she could find someone like me soon. Yeah, that wasn't an innocent comment, my guy. Especially not after everything else she said. Exactly. I'm sure it's not the first time she's put him on a pedestal and he likes the attention. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.